two new teams, which is kind of sad, but a lot of new players, I would say, on these rosters, right? A little bit of a difference in terms of Shikigami's roster having Scatter or Genji out there, or Gengi out there alongside Amadian and Ricky, I believe. Was Ricky on Shikigami last time? I'm trying to remember. I remember days, but completely
I saw him on the roster. I'd have to go back to the games. I believe I saw him on the roster. I'd have to go back to the games and double check. But either way, Shikigami, towards the end of that tournament, looked really good. They were struggling at first, the first 2 days. Day 3, they were popping off, and they really liked that Venom. So I will be curious to see, or they were finding success with Venom. So I'm not sure if they're going to keep going with it, but I did see that.
And interesting enough as well for Sentinels, they got Crimzo in instead of Hogs. So that's another change as well for both teams leading into this tournament. Not sure if Hogs is on the bench, because Crimzo's usually the coach for Sentinels. So maybe Crimzo feeling confident is Magneto, I imagine, not banned, or his Groot. So that's interesting that the coach is coming in for Sentinels.
You know what, we did talk about when it comes to Sentinels, they didn't love the Groot comp as much. They were able to make it happen, but a lot of the time they're banning it out. So having this pocket Groot Crimzo coach situation is awesome, in my opinion, to see, as we did have a conversation with him. Really cool guy. Give us some insight into how to keep the team's morale up, how to make everyone feel like a team, and you play better when you're having fun. So he did a great job of expressing that to us, and I can't believe we're seeing him in a game right now against Shikigami. I'm excited to see map 1 here as we go into a domination.
And the bans were pretty straightforward, by the way, just to recap them. We got the Hela, we got the Namor, and we got the Winter Soldier alongside Adam Warlock. So that removes that Guardians comp that you talk about, Shiv, with the triple strategists, with the Mantis, with the Adam Warlock. Because if you're new, obviously watching MRC for the first time, that composition did very well in MRI, running 3 strategists alongside 2 Vanguards and 1 duelist. Was a decent composition, played quite frequently, and then obviously Namor, Hela, and Bucky are all like top 3 duelists in the game. So pretty evenly distributed bans and protects for both teams.
Yeah, I like these comps. A little bit of a change up here. We do see Amadian is going to be on Star-Lord without having, obviously, the rest banned out here. So that is just going to be a strict DPS shift. We have seen a lot of success with Star-Lords in tournaments prior. Crimzo on the Groot, trying to take space early, going to wall off. And here comes that bubble Star-Lord, a very powerful combination to get alt charge really quick. As you look over at the charge, already 40. 7% for the side of Shikigami's with that dive there. I mean, it's just crazy how valuable that bubble spin can be, the spin to win. Down goes Crimzo early from Ricky with some great positioning, as Shikigami's looking really good on this first fight.
Yeah, they are looking good. I mean, that was because of Daze. Daze got that kidnap onto Crimzo. The coach came in, immediately went down to that Wolverine, and Shikigami in control of the point. We talked about Shikigami being a dark horse of MRC, and the slingshot right now is activated early on.
I love the Shikigami slingshot from that interview. I think it was Crazeman that we talked to, who was just feeling confident after some shifts in composition and understanding what they were lacking, which, learning as a team and getting excited. That's what you want to see, a team that feels confident and has nothing to lose. And they made some things happen, as we have an early tackle here from Daze, trying to find some value, not able to do so. Got to drop back crystals. Gonna be popped as well for Dinks. And we do see the dance floors begin. Fate of Both World on both sides. Korova and Dinks with a copy here. There's the tackle there. Daze on to Craze. It's very difficult to get out of that, but they do it, as we do have another leap available for Daze, but I'm not sure if it's going to get popped up in the sky. Good eat here by Scatter, potentially thinking about dunking it on him, but thought about it and said, no, I'll throw that back at the team. Didn't find any value. Crystals go out, and there goes the dive there immediately. The last stand. Ricky gonna follow up on Crimzo, goes down. Right, amazing falls from Daze. Dinks takes out Aramori. Craze on Korova. Dinks with 3. Gonna be dropping Kaluge as well. Well done again, Shikigami.
Yeah, incredibly long fight there, but, it seemed to me that Shikigami just constantly getting healed up. The lethality is not there for Sentinels. I know I've mentioned that before, but they really need to find those picks somehow, some way, right? Whether it be through Crimzo's Friendly Prison to have the follow-up damage, whatever it may be. Shikigami now obviously building up towards ultimates in a neutral game, as are Sentinels on the other side. Right now are sitting in a good spot using the crystals early and mating over the high ground with the Galactic, trying to get a lot of damage down range, forcing crystals from Sentinels as they're forced to touch the point.
Scatter just maintaining his position. A Madian spin to win. Get that ult charge back. A nice KO there onto Amazing with an early take. This is very much in Shikigami's favor. Madian again on Crimzo. Just back and forth. When it comes to Shikigami, they're just willing to use it all to hold on. Ultimates get popped. Super Gomez going to be dropping Ricky. That's a good early fight as they do lose a strategist. Will they be able to bounce back from this? Sentinels just battling, trying to maintain the position. Super Gomez with a great tackle there. Will they get the pick? Not yet. The dunk, though. Bang! Kaluj finds Daze. Daze going to take out Kurova first. But I do think they're able to maintain this positioning. Kaluj falls. Now it's just a touch. Can they hold on?
I mean, they are. They're holding on. Shikigami, they have members here. They've got a Madian's ult too. No strategist ultimate. Friendly Prison's here. It's met by the fate of both worlds, though. Perfectly timed from Ricky. Now they just gonna walk in, and it looks to me like Sentinels are about to get 100 0'd. The portal is not gonna be here from Kaluj in time. Hell's Heaven looking pretty one-sided right now on Frozen Airfield.
Shikigami has been consistently better every single time we watch them. I love to see the growth and the confidence. They just 100 0'd Sentinels, an incredible team, a team that is very confident. Maybe we had discussions that they don't like this meta as much as they did prior, but either way, just an incredible team in their own right. But Shikigami just very confident in taking that first map, setting the tone a little bit, and close to ult advantage on the very first fight.
Yeah, Sentinels in the last fight, losing Kurova at the very last second due to they sacrificed themselves, right? Dove into the back, took the meteor from Kaluj to the face, but it was a little bit too late. Kurova already got found, and Sentinels, that was the one way they could come back into the fight, keeping Kurova alive, keeping their strategist alive, at least to have a little bit of sustain, because Shikigami's strategist ultimates were perfectly timed. Now Scatter Genji still has his ultimate as Meteor M ready to go for Amazing, who has his own. He'll be surely countered here in the sky by Scatter Genji, and Shikigami now walking out of spawn with a very similar composition as they did before.
Yeah, the Jeff was lasting a little longer than I thought. I thought they actually might run with it, because not a horrible Jeff map with the alt positioning, with the off mapping so close to the point. But no, not going to continue to run that. We did see it in the finals from FlyQuest, but electing not to use it here, obviously just using it for the speed. Super Gomez trying to get an early tackle off map, unfortunately not able to do so. Does find the low key. Dink's able to escape. Good positioning, good escape, and a utilization of cooldowns where that discussion is being had. Kurova, a very strong hit scan player, especially when Warlock is on the table, but a great Luna in his own right, just healing everybody right now. The spin to win above Amadian, taking a ton of advantage. Him and Scatter are on top of that together. The combination off. Oh my goodness! Scatter gonna drop the Meteor M on virtually the entire team, as the rest of the team is gonna pick off. And dang, Shikigami's looking good.
I don't know what happened to force Aramori's crystals out early there. Shikigami, I'm assuming, was it Daze that you talked about earlier, Shib? Getting, you know, a pick off or something, forcing that crystals onto Crimzo, who got caught out. Kraz dunk from Scatter as well, and that's just beautiful. Aramori, maybe you would like to see the little, like maybe the crystals need to be held on for a little bit longer, but it's a tough situation when your group gets kidnapped that early, and it happens again.
Yeah, it's very difficult to understand priority in these moments. Kaluj. Oh, Super Gomez landing a mean ultimate, getting 3, just absolutely threatening when it comes to that last stand. Gorgeous play as they pick off in return the entire team.
Well, there we go. Crimzo, Friendly Prison, Kaluj there, and also, like you said, with Super Gomez on the backside. Using those 3 ultimates, it was pretty much perfection out of Sentinels. But this is where we talk about a lot of the top teams, right? It's about avoiding the Meteor M, and it's very hard to do so, obviously, when you're in Friendly Prison, but making sure you have cooldowns ready to go after that Friendly Prison's thrown out, because you know what's coming. It's that Meteor to the face, and that's a one-shot for every hero except, like, the Thing.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be hoping that you have that shield ready, but during moments like that, all these cooldowns are being popped. It's all about, can you track them? Can your team keep confidence knowing you have time to make plays? It's very, very difficult, and that's why this level of play is so skillful. A ton of ults being popped here as we see the dance floor on both sides. Aramori going to copy the fate. Almost Daze try to make a play there, but Rymazing, great turn to take out Daze. Rymazing, a very strong player, but typically we see Star-Lord being run by his counterpart when it comes to Super Gomez. So Super Gomez feeling confident on that Wolverine. Amadian gonna find one. There's another great prison there as Amadian follows up. Crazemang popping off here on the group.
Kalush's ultimate also came out, and that's brutal to see if Sentinels. I mean, they threw out the Strangling Prison. They had the strategist to support against it as well on the side of Shikigami. And like you said, that engage from Amadian, they came back. They sort of played to Rymazing's aggression, took care of him earlier as he just went a little bit too deep with the shield and the blasters, able to find him, and then Amadian came back through with their own Strangling Prison from Krasman's side. Now they have the Meteor M ready to go in this fight unless Super Gomez goes crazy again. That sets up Shikigami.
Great tackle there by Daze early on. Does force out Bubble. It's not going to be enough. Daze taking out two right there is insanely huge for Shikigami. Looking really comfortable on this first map, or second map of the first game. Scatter going to find three great shots there, and Craze is going to get one as well. At this point, they got to get to this point.
Yeah, we're going to see an early hole, potentially an early hole, actually. No, they know somebody got back behind. They know Super Gomez is back there, but he has his ultimate, so this could be devastating from Super Gomez if he can be cheeky. Also force Shikigami to look in two different directions. Last fight territory now for Shikigami in this point.
Ult advantage on Sentinels too. This is very much their fight. They need to make things happen. Good spin there, really well done. The focus on the bubble, maybe not there just yet. Here comes the ult, immediately off the rip. Rymazing trying to find somebody. There comes the dance floor. Fate of both worlds is out. Super Gomez holding on to this ult, waiting for the correct moment, trying to get a tackle. Great play. Incredible work there, and another Super Gomez lining it up, trying to get on the groove. Crazemang is going to get healed up. Good Fate of both worlds to counter that right back. Not enough pressure there. Super Gomez trying to make a play, and the initial tackle was insane, and here comes the Meteor M. It does get a pick.
Yeah, the Meteor M has a ton of lethality here, especially against... Okay, Dave's got a counter trade-off, by the way, but will get staggered out. Sentinels now control the point, but it does have a lot more damage that you could, or it'll be easier to get it off rather when you're against this composition where they can't really break the Meteor, but you can't help but charging it up. It's this weird sort of dichotomy where you have to deal with Kalush, who can connect on those Meteor M's, and now coming back into it, Sentinel's close to Rymazing's ultimate, but on the other side, Daze could connect flush with a huge last stand.
Yeah, I like Sentinels getting their confidence back here. Alt fight, they won it. We needed them to if they were going to take this map back, and they managed to make it happen. A very clutch moment, but Daze now, the last stand is available. You know how valuable that can be, but Daze falls prior to using it. Korova, a necessary pick. Crimzo taking out Craze, saying, I am Groot as well, and they are back up 99%. Sentinels take map 2.
Woo. Hell's Heaven. Completely interesting. Flipped on their head there for Soldiers, Super Soldier Factory. Now going to Eldritch Monument. Anything is possible for either team, considering how Frozen Airfield was a slow start for Sentinels. And, you know, unfortunately for Shikigami, I feel like they just kind of went through, they didn't go through their progressions, right? They ran towards the point. Daze getting picked off early was brutal. Sentinels took advantage of the positioning of where Shikigami was set up. And now for Sentinels' side, they've got to feel confident moving forward, understanding that they, on their own take, Shib, it felt like they were like slowly walking up, you know, utilizing cooldowns, sort of taking it step by step. And now, you know, Sentinels forced that round 3.
Yeah, I think they did a great job there. I mean, they had ult advantage obviously in the first fight, but managing to win every subsequent fight after the fact was just a sheer amount of confidence in positioning. They just knew who to prioritize, I guess. That early pick, I think, was game-winning potential, or map-winning, obviously, against Daze there on the side of Shikigami. You know, it's just tough. Wolverine getting focused like that. You hope you have passive up. Obviously didn't in the moment. Got absolutely bursted. Great focus. And now Sentinels looking really good as they are going to be slightly down in ult advantage, but Crimzo's very close. The combination of Crimzo, Super Gomez here with the tackling last stand from the Strangling Prison can be very strong, but that initial ultimate here by Amadian could potentially win this first hold.
Yeah, you're going to have to watch out for that indeed. Daze, meanwhile, the backside tosses Kalush into his strategist, and Kalush will go down. Amadian also over the high ground. You called out this ultimate earlier, Shib. cleans up how Shikigami take the first point. And that was just a great engaged Daze as well at the last stand. That's what you want to see too, because in the previous round, Daze was not able to get the same value, Shiv. It just felt like on that last one, he was kind of shut out compared to that first round. Now on defense, they've got Franz's ult, they've got that combo. Sentinels, how do you avoid getting one shot by that Meteor M alongside Strangling Prison?
Yeah, they made the play properly. It goes down. Ooh, nice pick there on the Daze. Crimzo, good work there and good tackle off rip. We'll go back to our discussion in a moment after we continue with this fight as Crimzo holding on to the Strangling Prison. Oh, I knew that was coming. Great wall there by Craze to stop the Strangling. Knew that there was going to be a moment, and it's going to turn around as Scatter takes out Aramori and Amazing. Oh my goodness, that is a tough look. Shikigami, great plays back to back. Up in the sky, Kalush tries to even it back as Dinks goes down. Who's going to take this point in the end? It is so back and forth. Super Gomez holding on to this all. Bang! Oh my gosh! Shikigami falls, and Sentinels are looking like they're going to take this point at the end.
Yeah, it looks like they are. Ricky's able to take down Kalush at the very least, but yeah, at this point, might as well reset. 60% on the board. Daggers now come through onto Ricky. Eventually will fall. Now, you know, but that was definitely dicey, dude. You said that wall came out, like, Crimzo yeets that out. That's not what you'd like to see. Maybe not supporting the narrative. A Crimzo coach getting subbed in.
It's the difficulty with Groot. You know, you think that all gets launched immediately, but there is like this slight animation of him winding back and throwing it, and it almost takes like a second. So just started that animation, saw that there was going to be a window to throw it. He just tossed that wall up, and just out of sheer intuition, it landed. It stuffed that all, and that was fight winning. But unfortunately, not enough to give them everything. They did have to commit all the rest of their ults, but they took over point 33% to 60, popping everything. That was Aramori and Amazing. Aramori going to be dancing to the fate of both worlds. Amazing with the Cosmic Legend, or the Galactic Legend, excuse me. Popping off. Crazeman gonna take out Gomez, though. Does have the old prison. Will this prison be launched? Not yet.
I don't think so. Yeah, they don't need it necessarily. Just get cleanup kills for KOs for free. 70% on the board now. Shiv as well, as these staggers come out super late, man. And potential spawn camp comes out. If Crimzo gets staggered here, oh no, he does get a bubble. Strategist there to heal him. You do have Wolverine coming towards the point. Super Gomez or somebody was behind, ready to touch the objective. Make sure Shikigami's on the greatest spot, but they still have a combo in Daze, ready to go with the last stand too. They're ready to hit a huge Strangling Prison.
There's a lot of ultimates for Shikigami. It's even trade right now. Crimzo falls. Crazeman with an early pick. Craze does have ult as well. Crimzo did, unfortunately. There's just so much back and forth there. They're just trying to get to the point. They are on point now, forcing them to return. Crazeman throws the ult out. Doesn't manage to make anything happen. Good focus there by Kurova to drop back. Amazing takes out Dinks, though. Sentinels are pushing through. I don't know how they did it. Kurova on a Craze as well.
Yeah, they might do it indeed. I mean, there's the rest of Shikigami falling over in overtime. The Sentinels do get the objective, do get the point, and sadly, that's the same thing that happened. It felt like on the previous rounds for Shikigami. They just kind of collapsed from Super Gomez's flank. They just didn't know how to react, and you know, with that, now Sentinels put themselves in the driver's seat with a pretty good ult bank as well. I mean, unless Amadian can go absolutely huge with his ultimate, no strategy. Well, there's a strategist ultimate for Aramori, so it's gonna be really hard for Shikigami to win this upcoming fight, which is, you know, it all is on the line here. If you lose this one, it's over on map number 1.
Yeah, I can't believe how that shook out. It looked heavily on the side of Shikigami. It's just Sentinel's coordination was beautiful. Good tackle there. Super Gomez, unfortunately, not able to make anything happen. Still, actually, Pops does lose passive as well during that fight. Unfortunate here for Super Gomez. Shikigami gonna dive in here. Jinx gonna pop that Fate of Both Worlds, but it's gone now. Ult advantage Aramori, and now it's just a basic fight. Who can make things happen without Q's? Super Gomez gonna drop Daze. That's a great early take. Team's just dropping back, knowing they can get point for a second, give them a little bit of time to reset. Kalush very low. Just group pressure alone, knowing that it can't be sucked up into the Meteor M. And it looks like Sentinels are gonna take this thing.
That'd be Daze. Portal, is he going to be there in time? Can anybody touch? It looks like there's somebody on the objective for now. Portal will be here, so they're able to come back, but Amadian and Dinks both gone. We'll see what they could do, right? Ultimate from Krasmang. Ricky is here with the Luna Snow ultimate. The dance floor is on the objective to sustain this front line. Here comes the Meteor as well in the back. Can it connect on anybody? If it does, that'd be huge. With the crystals from Aramori, perfectly timed. Super Gomez as well with the last stand. Takes down Amadian. Shikigami's portal is removed.
And it looks like they just thought, hey, we might lose this. Let's kick it into gear. And Sentinels just turning everything around. Incredible crystals there by Aramori, completely shutting down an ultimate. We talk about how valuable those are and just making plays off of that. It could potentially round winning for them right there. Really well done by Sentinels to figure it out.
Yeah, they got it done indeed. Map number one, round number one did not look good at all, but if anything, bodes to show what's going to happen in the rest of the series. I think this map was definitely a great showing for both teams. Now we're entering that round number two in this best out of three. So if Sentinels win one more map, that puts them forward in this upper bracket. Meanwhile, for Shikigami, that would send them down below. And what a way to start it off there, Shib, with this matchup between two storied franchises so far, two storied teams from the Invitational.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Super Gomez, the stat lines, we talk about stat lines a lot, obviously, can be very misleading. You look at Shikigami's stat lines, and they are disturbing. They look like they won the game. If I had no idea who won, I would have looked there and assumed that they had taken it. But you go over to Super Gomez, 14 final hits, just looking like an absolute fiend there on the Wolverine. And before we dive into any more of this stuff and get into the next game of the series, let's check out these highlights. Sentinels and Shikigami, we knew it was going to be a battle, but the first game going to map 3 and looking like that, stat lines looking more in the favor of Shikigami, but just the clutch moments obviously in the favor of Sentinels. What a game one, what'd you think?
Oh yeah, I mean it was back and forth, and I think we're in for a good matchup. Sentinels winning map number one, but we'll never know how this next one goes until we obviously play it. So going into Spider Islands for that second game, man, and after domination, who knows what the bans and protects going to be this time. Adam Warlock banned first for Shikigami.
Yeah, they're going to get rid of Kurova's Warlock. Makes sense to me. Hella, another insta ban. It's looking the exact same as last time here on the ban front. If they were staying consistent, they're going to try to lock in the Luna and Groot here on both sides. If I were a betting man, that's where I would be guessing. And, you know, one thing that we've been seeing, at least from these teams, is getting rid of the Bucky, which I personally think is in an insanely strong state right now. Bucky, Namor, both of which, you know, Namor obviously plays great into the Groot, so I'm going to assume the ban is going to be on the other side here. We'll probably see Namor right now. Yeah. Oh, wait, on the same side. Interesting. Just more so didn't want to see it. Maybe they want to try to run the Bucky with the Groot.
Yeah, and they ban it on Sentinel's side, so it's just the exact same ban protect phase as we literally just saw. I think it was.
Yeah, no, it's the same people, just on a different rotation. So, oh no, just kidding. No, wait, it is the exact same. I'm losing my mind here. But well, yeah.
No, yeah, I mean it makes sense for these two teams. They feel confident, obviously, on that Star-Lord Wolverine duo. You know, a lot of teams we've seen earlier, you know, played a lot of Namor and Hela alongside each other because those two characters are super strong, and Bucky as well being played. We haven't seen much triple strategist because it feels like one of the teams doesn't like to play it. They either, you know, feel like the other team has an advantage in triple strategist or whatever. Keep banning Adam Warlock to just avoid that tandem. And now for Shikigami's side, maybe they can get something going for their offense on a brand new map.
Yeah, maybe it has to do with Crimzo being in and not Hogs. Maybe Hogs, you know, they're more comfortable running the triple with Hogs. I'm not sure how that looks, right? That goes into the minutia of what the teams have been running, what they're feeling comfortable with in their communications. But I do like the idea of Crimzo still on this Groot and that being his pocket pick if they're going to allow the Groot through on both sides.
Interesting if, you know, both teams play these compositions. I do think that, you know, a lot of the discussion behind the winning team getting the bans and protect does definitely have some merit because Kurova and Sentinels like playing around this Luna Snow. Shikigami really couldn't do much against it considering they had first ban. See what happens here as Shikigami start off on the attack, running the mirror again.
And here we go. Scatter gonna take this space as much as possible on the straight side here, just forcing the team back to the left. Height tried to be pressed here by Rymazing. Great bubble. There's that combination we like to see a lot. The Magneto bubble into the spin to win, just getting that alt charge and trying to hit as many people as possible. Super Gomez, great tackle, an incredible Wolverine here. Kraze does go down early. That's great spacing and great attack. In terms of the defensive side, being aggressive and getting a pick like that on somebody trying to take a little extra space is so valuable. It's going to force the entire team to drop back and not stagger here.
And Gomez not taking out that clone like you said, just making sure he can keep up at 100 chart. And that front line, Cart still trying to push, but Super Gomez again with the kidnap. Is he stuck in the doorway? Nope. Does get frozen. Passive also proc. Nice job to peel off the tackle from Gomez.
And Day's gonna make the official assault. Rymazing propping off with the legend. Gonna find Ricky. And there is going to be some dance floor smash on both sides. Do we see a double up? No. We do see Aramori out. Kaluj in the sky with a meteor. Ton of damage on it. Doesn't land, unfortunately. Great positioning indoors. But Day's just swiping away at everyone in there. Building those claws up to 100. Dealing as much damage as possible through the dance floor. Not able to get any value just yet, but almost that ultimate. And this could be a crazy last in. There it is. Oh my goodness. Days with a 3-piece and a side of fries as Amadian cleans it up.
Beautiful from Days and the rest of the team. Shikigami playing those ultimates very well. Long fights, as you can tell. Viewers, just constant back and forth copies from Dinks, Luna Snow dance floor, aka Fate of Both Worlds on the side. And again, we're going into another fight immediately as the portal comes back through from Kaluj. Everybody's stunned and slowed though from Shikigami coming out of the choke point, or the Sentinels coming out of that portal. Unfortunately, cost them this fight, so they just kind of run in towards the objective, scatter in. And nice work from Shikigami to not get startled by that portal re-engage.
Great early attack, a ton of time on the clock here. This is a very difficult point to attack, in my opinion. You do get a strong defensive side at the end here with the high ground on the left and the wall on the right. The wall can be used offensively with something like a Eye of Agamotto jump over that right side wall, but outside of that, it's very difficult to get a ton of value with ultimates in that little choke there on offense. But we do see this team just kind of maintaining this positioning, really, or like kind of holding the flow of the map, and it's really working out for them as they do start with a meteor off the rip.
Yeah, meteor off the rip indeed. Does it connect? No, it's just a bit too far. I feel like we could see that wasn't gonna connect from the cross side of the map. Meanwhile, Fate of Both Worlds to sustain versus the Strangling Prison. The follow-up was not there from Kaluj. Now he commits the ultimate to counter Shikigami's aggression, but not going to be able to connect. It's avoided again from Shikigami. Last stand onto Kraze. Able to connect onto Kaluj's angle as well. Super Gomez right now has been amazing for Sentinels. I feel like it's found so much value out of Wolverine throughout the series.
Absolutely. I do like that retake there. Well done by Sentinels. This is the story with them. It seems like they need to get beat up before they find their footing. And once they find their footing, it just is on. You know what I mean? It's like they've turned the light switch on and it's just working for them. So let's see if they're able to maintain that position. Obviously going to be heavy down in ultimates in this fight, as we will see Kraze popping that ultimate, potentially gonna link with the last stand here by Days. Again, Days with a mean ultimate off the rip. Will he keep it consistent? Tries to get in there. Great crystals there. Legendary up in the sky. Galactic Legend. Kraze gonna find Gomez without having to use anything, but Rymazing taking out Days early is a great pick.
Yeah, trades it back and forth, especially since that Wolverine has ultimate, and that's usually what we see in the late game to find eliminations. Brute ultimate on the side from Krasman, met immediately by Madian to give some sustain over the high ground, get that damage out. On to Crimzo, who got picked off on the backside, not near those crystals from Aramori. And now Amadian is just able to run towards the backline with Krasman, dive towards Kurova. Both strategists will surely be removed. Off the map, though, goes Kraz from Super Gomez. Nice tackle from him. But honestly, from Shikigami, they played that so well there, Shib. Krasman hitting the Strangling Prison, Amadian in the sky. Kaluj used the Meteor M earlier, so they couldn't counter Amadian. And right now, 2 minutes to go for Shikigami in the Streets phase is honestly a pretty good time bank. They have to be happy about that.
Yeah, they're playing very well. They do have ult advantage again. I mean, it just seems like every fight they come out on top. and they're still holding on to the advantage in the next fight. So we do begin again with Ricky in great positioning, the spin to win above, trying to get something here. Raimazing just wants to get that ult, and it is going to be popped. Here comes the counter. Raimazing pops. Aramori holding on, getting ready to use the dance floor off Kurova. Scatter is going to go up the sky with the Meteor M, doesn't find value immediate, going to take out Gomez. Daze does have that ult in. Last stand, not able to get anyone. Ricky, it does have the dance floor for the final take. It's just so back and forth with these galactic legends. So now Diggs, great positioning here, pumping into the full team. You have Loki crystals like that. Diggs not afraid to pop that. Fate of both worlds again up in the sky, not able to get any value with that dunk from the Meteor M. And Shikigami, he's just holding this thing so close. The tackle, the last stand, doesn't get anyone. No, great hold onto that Fate of both worlds, keeping the team in. Diggs with a great copy, ensuring that nobody falls on either side.
Legendary, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when Daze slam dunks the rest of your team. Although, wait a minute. Rai, Super Gomez, they're still on the cart. They've also got heals from Kurova. Shikigami, they don't have any really potential damage here on the backside. Raimazing able to take down Ricky, so just kidding. Wait, oh no, they're about to camp out. They don't touch. Okay, they even come back through and touch the cart. But oh my god, that was insane from Daze. Met by Sentinels on the side. Raimazing hitting his ultimate at the perfect time, and then Super Gomez is on the low ground. We can see why this duo of Super Gomez and Raimazing has been such a mainstay in the scene. They kind of put the team on the back on their backs at points. 6 seconds left to go. I mean, Shikigami's got a touch now.
Yeah, and here comes the teleport through. Try to wall it off. Crimson with the right idea is going to start placing these down now. Try to find some extra value on damage. Just try to get to that ult. 70%. Looks like Sentinels are going to be down slightly on ultimate. Super Gomez, though, with the last stand. You know how strong those can be. There goes the tackle. Gomez, not sure if it got anyone. Scatter, going to take out Kurova and Raimazing. That's an incredible Meteor M as they are up in numbers, but immediately going to get prisoned back in. Walls dealing a ton of damage. Scatter still at full HP. Great job here by the strategist. Driving through as Gomez falls, Kaluj falls, Crimzo falls, and Shikigami is going to take point 2.
Absolutely beautiful Vanguard gameplay from Shikigami. Scatter back and forth. You know, where am I going to go with this giant meteor? And it is into the back line of Sentinels. Gives them that point. Then with the follow through from the rest of the team. Kraz also, his timing with these strangling prisons has been perfect. Sentinels, we'll see if they can hold on right now, and if Shikigami can match the ultimates of their side.
And here we go, Galactic Legend up off the rip. Sentinels try to take this advantage early. Aramori gonna pop all, or that might be a visual glitch, as there doesn't seem to be anything out there just yet, unless they're waiting on the pop of the Q. Yes, they are. There it is. The Fate of Both World comes out early, and we do see no major value yet. It's just kind of stalling on point. Super Gomez gonna get the tackle and take Crazebang off the map there. That's a good trade to drop a Vanguard like that, especially one as impactful as Groot with those walls. Good job here by Aramori to pop out those crystals. 75% till the next ult. Looks like ult advantage is still slightly going to be in the side of Sentinels if none of these land. Scatter up in the sky. There goes Kaluj. Does find one. Well done by Kaluj there onto the Eye of Agamotto. Still pressing into space. It looks like Sentinels are holding on and shoving them back. Great ult there on the side of Crimzo, and they do manage to take out 5 with 13 seconds on the clock. Will they be able to touch?
I mean, no portal because they used it earlier. Spawn camp now coming through. You also can't get it this way. You have to rely on your Venom touching the objective, but unfortunately, either Smart Swing or whatever it may be, Scatter cannot get through the choke, and that's as far as Shikigami will go on their attack. 65 meters. Now we swap side. Sentinels over to the offense, and swapping on the defense is Shikigami.
Yeah, not a bad push by any means, right? We have seen teams get to that third point there. It seems like when they get to the third point, it's either a full push or it's held directly where they just had it after that first turn, which if you ask me, wouldn't be where I would expect it to always end, but must be something about that high ground and just positioning. It's tough to push through at this level of the game, especially when Groot's there and he can just wall off all these different zones and force you into just one path. So really well done there in terms of the defense at the end by Sentinels. But Shikigami, when they're down, they are not out. They always manage to make these fights go in their favor, but they just need to make something happen here to push this to game 3.
See if they could do it. On the side of Sentinels, I feel like the reasoning behind having Super Gomez and Wolverine is definitely sound. I mean, Super Gomez, one of the best Wolverine players in the entire world in North America as well. And kind of put the team on his back on Wolverine. You know, match even on Star-Lord because he was like one of the best Star-Lords in the game early on. Raimazing has been sort of that flex onto, you know, a lot of different heroes, onto the Psylocke at points for him whenever that character is meta. now having to play a lot more Star-Lord, which is obviously, I'm sure if you're a Sentinels fan, a little bit tough to see considering how Super Gomez does and how he performs on the Star-Lord. Shikigami's defense is quite interesting here, Shib. They're going to be rocking triple Vanguard with the Storm to follow it up, man.
I love it. I was just going to say, unique defensive strategy here. We are going to see the Storm, but then we see the triple Vanguard. I mean, and Daze is actually, you know, somebody was just popping off on Wolverine. It's going to be on Doctor Strange. Korova down goes Amadian, right? Amazing. Craze. Down goes Daze. Oh my goodness. Sentinels coming out hot. Just steamrolling this opening, and their entirety of Shikigami gets deleted in seconds.
Yep, and this was because of what you brought about earlier with Aramori swapping to Scarlet Witch, so Kaluge gets the sword. So you get that team up with the Scarlet Witch and with the Magneto, then you swap off of that hero. But right as we say that, we're going into yet another fight. Shikigami all low. Super Gomez with the kidnap onto Daze as well. Almost finds the pick, and in fact does in the sky. That was beautiful from Gomez.
Yeah, as playing Doctor Strange, there's nothing more terrifying than knowing that Wolverine gets that other dash and he's going to get up on your feet. I don't know if I loved that teleport being so aggressive off the rip. I mean, they are going to be able to retouch, so there is some value in that. But now you've got to press through Groot walls with no way through just to get into this next fight, because obviously Crimzo is going to set up here, as you see, setting up everything for the fight and just giving them a slight advantage on this early take. Ults still going to be available here for Sentinels, and it looks like Shikigami's in a tough spot, getting reverse rolled after they did the same thing in point one.
Get momentum shift indeed, Shib. Super Gomez trying to continue it. Another kidnap into the sky. Last stand into the ground. No Stratus ultimates here. Oh no, the crystal's a bit too late. Also, Super Gomez said passive didn't even need it necessarily. Over to the sky. Kaluge goes with the Meteor M. Can he connect? No crystals here. Cannot necessarily, but they still have the edge in terms of ultimate Sentinels and players towards the cart.
Gomez very patient there, waiting for a nice pick, and here goes the Alpha Scatter. Bang! Down goes Aramori. Really well done there by Scatter. The tornado's out for a Median, but Amazing just deletes the tornado out of the sky. The dunk for Daze again. Tries to be, wow, well done. Waits patiently, looks for the opening onto the back line, and they are going to get some value out of that as down goes Kaluge and the strategist line. They got to make sure that point doesn't get pushed any further. 2 meters on, and dang, Crimzo falls. Dinks and Craze going to clean up the rest, and they are going to be able to hold on. Well done here, and good knowledge in terms of knowing they can get 3 fights even without using that teleport.
Yep, I took the words right out of my mouth, Shib. I mean, that was amazing how Shikigami played that to a perfection, even though they were down a man in that fight. Like you said, getting 3 fights is perfect. Now you're set up with 1 minute and 22 seconds on the clock. Basically last fight territory, and you force out crystals, you throw in the Strangling Prison on top of it for Shikigami.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I think is difficult is you ran the 3 strategy or the 3 Vanguard, which I don't necessarily dislike, but into Super Gomez's Wolverine, right? Like, that is very tough to do. And Super Gomez, you mentioned a very strong Wolverine as we see Kaluge get that early pick. Sentinels now getting a little more space up in numbers here. Odds in the favor of the ultimates, which look like Shikigami has 2 strategists here ready for action. Bang! Oh, gets caught. Well done. Great catch there by the side of Scatter, who now can use that meteor right back at them. But the cooldowns will be up for Kaluge. Knowing that's going to happen, he's going to hold on to those as much as possible. And here comes the counter ultimate into the sky. Craze is going to drop Crimzo, though. They're down another number. Here goes the crystals are out early, too. This is looking back in Shikigami's favor, but now Sentinels have everything in their arsenal to use. Super Gomez gonna hard focus Craze. Down goes Craze. Well done by Gomez. And there's continuing this stall fight on the point.
What's the counterplay, dude? Super Gomez just stunned him for 9 seconds or whatever, man. That was like absurd. Poor Kraz onto the side. He's gonna come back with a TP. Also, Scatter's gonna fall, so they have to funnel into this payload without crystals as well. Here comes them out of the teleporter. It's into the Wolverine claws. Legendary in the sky though from Amadian, but it doesn't end up mattering. Well, actually, able to find Korova on the freeze from Ricky was nice as well. And what's happening towards the cart? Daze is with another one. Shikigami kidnaps Aramori too. They've held in overtime. Super Gomez last stand tries to clutch it, but it's just him. Nobody else is here. Shikigami, they might have done it.
We look like we may be going to game 3. Shikigami with a 0.1 hold. This is crazy. Team is clutch when they need to be. And what a beautiful push, but what an even better defense. Just managing to push through the minutia, just every single thing that didn't look like it was going their way. They just battled back and clutched up and get the W as Dinks is going to take this MVP home.
Yeah, right now it's kind of weird for Sentinels. It feels like they, rely heavily on those clutch scenarios, like you said, being able to win off of Super Gomez or whoever it may be. Kaluj with that Meteor M, once that didn't connect, it connected. It just had, I think that what happened was it was an immediate crystal by Dinks. Like his timing, his APM there, that was like insane to save themselves from that Meteor M. And then with that, they're able to come back. Days had a huge last stand, massive moments on Wolverine. You talked about the stats earlier. You'd think the other team won, but in this case, Shikigami have been doing so well.
Yeah, there's just something about Shikigami in these team fights. You know that Sentinels has the brain power to get these W's in clutch moments, but Shikigami in these team fights, they always manage to just have massive plays, and it just keeps working out for them. Before we talk about more of this, let's dive into the highlights. Dog, man, another series, another banger series. Shikigami Sentinels into game 3 for all the marbles here, pushing a team down to the lower side bracket. What a game, man.
What a game indeed, already going the distance. And, for a team like Sentinels, you want to keep this going in the upper bracket, right? If they go against the 100 Thieves, get that rematch that I know they want. They say they don't call it a rivalry at this point, considering how well 100 Thieves does versus Sentinels. But today, for Shikigami's side, right, what an upset for them if they were to beat Sentinels. Coming up onto Midtown, map choice for Sentinels. Considering how things went, too, in that previous map, you might be a little tilted if you're Sentinels side, Shib, considering you almost just were able to cap out on that first point and just got stopped every time.
Yeah, I just think the swaps were made that were necessary for Shikigami, and they learned from their mistakes. They saw where they were struggling, and I like the idea. I mean, I at first was a little questionable about that teleport play, and they lost that fight, but it did force out some ults, and it didn't really matter because it just gave them a 3rd-point touch anyway. Like, they took that teleport so early on that they had plenty of time to get back, reset, and they held the whole rest of the map right up there on the high ground. So really well done by Shikigami. Big brain plays, and you can see their practice coming through.
You can see it indeed. Thingman gets banned, or Thingman, the Thing gets banned as that second ban for Shikigami, so a bit of a difference. We'll see if it changes much, considering, yeah, you see immediately Thing ban instead of Namor. It got through this time around for both sides of, feeling like they can play some of that Luna Snow / Namor, which obviously Sentinels looks like they're favoring it these days.
Yeah, I think you get rid of the Thing here. This is a very strong Thing map with those. He has a lot of different hallways to make haymaker plays and escape patterns for his Yancey Street. So really strong Thing map. Shikigami taking that off the table, maybe not feeling as confident as they know the Sentinels can be. The thing is, I think Hogs runs a ton of the Thing, and he's not on the roster right now. So it's unique. Maybe it was just maybe they felt confident that someone else could run it as well, but maybe a weird decision. I'm not sure exactly how that pans out, but we will be seeing the defense on the side of Shikigami off the rip as Sentinels will be pushing with a very similar composition. Super Gomez is going to be on that Wolverine. Amazing, a very strong Namor. Saw a lot of success during the MRI, so excited to see that as well. And now we have the combination, the Prison with the Whale. And we know how strong that can be, especially if the damage boost is up there from Kurova.
Yeah, we can. We do know for sure. And, this offense has that advantage, rather, for Shikigami's side. Oh, my God. Immediately, Kurova, nice job onto Madian. Pick off on that backside angle from Sentinels to go around that left flank. But they have the advantage with the Scarlet Witch, right? Once they have Aramori swap over to it to get to the Scarlet Witch to give the team up to Kaluj. gives him that sword early on, but now, once that cooldown's removed, Shikigami was able to trade it back.
Yeah, I like the sword play. I do think we've been seeing that a lot more today. Magneto already very, very strong, but oh, nice tackle right onto the door. That puts Daze in a dangerous position. Daze, obviously versatile enough to switch over complete roles here, playing with Doctor Strange a lot. Oh, and that's a great ult there by Crimzo. Will they be able to follow up with the wall up to protect? Great positioning. Still going to be able to find a few. Super Gomez takes out Ricky, but Kray's going to turn that around on Gomez. Even those numbers right back out, as the entirety of Shikigami is still holding on this early on the defense.
Ooh, yeah, they're so good at playing the objective. Like, sure, they get wiped now, but you talked about it, Shib, dude. Like, they're so good at just making it so they get 1, 2, 3 fights. And, you know, this is looking a lot like other hero shooters when you can just get as many fights as they have been.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I'll mention is a lot of teams, they hold at this bridge first, right? Like, that is their first choke point. They stay on the high ground on bridge. But you just got a full almost minute before you even got to the bridge. That is, like you're saying, that's just that next level thought process in plays. You're talking about multiple fights and buying time. That is where Shikigami, I think, is shaking things up. Super Gomez gonna drop Daze again on the scatter. Once again, a quick teleport and a quick team wipe as Sentinels just make things happen, still holding ult advantage. But now they will get another fight. I would argue that teleport, again, trying to be aggressive. They did get another fight. Maybe it was worth, but Sentinel still having ult advantage, maybe not. But still, that argument around how many fights to get on this first point and, you know, just buying as much time as possible is a really unique strategy.
Yeah, they've chewed 2 minutes off the clock already, and there's definitely a discussion, especially if they win this series, how viable it is to do that. Right now into this fight, Meteor M against Sentinels. We'll see if it connects. No, it doesn't, but does force out Crystals, and Crimzo's gone already.
Yeah, Craze with a nice early pick there on Crimzo. Obviously having the Groot out is strong. Right, amazing. Going to take out Amadian, though. Still turning those tides back. We are going to see the dance floors out. Nice tackle out of the sky. Daze, an insane play there onto Amazing, waiting for that bubble to pop, and then just tackling him right out of the sky. Up we go. Kaluj. Bang! Oh, not enough time there. Did escape. Oh, still gets the pick. Nice follow-up there by Kaluj. Ricky thought they were safe, but not for long. And Super Gomez just going to deal a ton of damage, fully charged up here on the Wolverine.
Yeah, it might be too many people on Sentinel's side towards this payload, towards the objective. Amadian going to fall over. Daze as well, entering the second phase of the map now. But it's incredible how much time was chewed off the clock there. They were down to a minute. Now we're added time, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Now in the Streets phase, Sentinels have ultimates again. Amazing's over to the Doctor Strange again, by the way. So we'll see if he wants to stick with it. More than likely going to try to swap in the spawn later on. There it is, swapping back over to the mirror again, where Sentinels do have an edge.
Yeah, I'm curious if they had that conversation. You know, can we make a play with this? Can we portal off? And then it just did not, you know, bode well with the team. Just made that switch immediately back. But great pressure here. Korova on that left side, trying to drive the team back. Getting him back in that choke in the staircase is very difficult. We do see some early action. Amazing. Up, bang. Down goes two. Super Gomez going to find Daze and Craze early on. Well done, Gomez. Putting on a masterclass here with this Wolverine. An absolute demon. Make that 3 as Scatter falls as well. And yeah, Sentinels back on their BS here, shoving in with a full team wipe.
Yeah, this is the difficulty for Shikigami when you have such a game plan as their own, where you just want to get as many team fights as possible. You need to sort of refocus, come back into it, and really just try to win a team fight. And oh man, Daze. I wonder what the game plan really was there, because he was just walking out of the choke dinks as well. I mean, obviously it didn't pan out whatsoever, and now with that, Sentinels, I mean, this is just free farm for Amazing over the high ground. We're moving into the third phase of the map for Sentinels.
Now might be a bit
Yeah, right. The push looks very clean. 3.5 on the clock here. You know, we've seen teams held here early on. You know, it's difficult to push past this first choke if the team's on it. But immediately, one thing I like to see from Sentinels here is they just scatter across early on in the point. Don't allow them to shove you into that door off the rip. You own this high ground left and the off angle right. And it's difficult to have eyes on the right places. Amazing showcasing that they don't want Namor to make any play off left here and flank the back line. It's a great decision. Craze going to fall early as Amazing with a nice pick. And they are going to keep this pressure forward. It looks like they might get through this first angle early on as Amazing's going to get lifted from the crafting building.
Skipper's taking angles on the high ground. Sentinels now with pretty much every ult in the bank. Same thing with Shikigami. They need to get a fight win here on defense, at least one good fight. for Shikigami. Freeze onto Daze, passive pops, cooldowns committed to try to save him as well. Sentinels still sitting in a good spot, even though they've had the advantage the whole time. Shikigami need to get some sort of fight win here.
Yeah,
right.
Good. Oh, off the rip, right? Amazing, going to take out Dinks. Kaluj finding Scatter with the Meteor M. That's good value as they are holding on to the rest. Super Gomez, right? Amazing, and Kurova. Kurova popping out now. Might see the whale after the fact. They don't need it. Gomez going to follow up. Crazy Man goes down. Ricky, Amadian, and it looks like Sentinels doing a great job on this attack. Shoving in, and it's going to be a scatter fest and a stagger fest here for Shikigami.
Your powers are
Yeah, Staggerfest copy from Dinks. He's going to wait to the last second to pop that to touch. Here comes the Meteor M in the sky. Crystals pop to protect everybody. Then they come back through with the copy to counter Dinks on his side. Shikigami now trying to come back in with the last stand after this is over.
Yeah, great prioritization there by our Omori. Throw the clones out first, then you use your green there, your crystals, and immediately follow up with the ulti. So all three are out in the field at the same time. Right, amazing, finding two, make that three on the off angle, and that could be enough here. Just trying to keep eyes on Daze. Crystals go out early. Trying to focus down the back line, which as you should, gonna pop, and it looks like the defense of Shikigami's gonna hold on.
Oh, well, there's more members here. Heals under Amazing after that portal comes through on the backside. Look, it's Kurova over the height on the flank, finding the back line. Nobody's looking through the portal. Somebody's got to look at this, man. Two people are removed. Shikigami. What do they do after losing everybody now to a strategist player?
Only 60 seconds left.
Yeah, great push. It looks like this is on. No, I was going to say in a favor. Oh, nice pick there by Sentinels. Kurova getting a two-piece, and that's going to be enough for them to drive through. Sentinels going to push the entire path on Midtown. Well done and great. They're looking really good out there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They're looking good indeed. Minute left on the clock, too. I don't know what it was, but Shikigami just really couldn't get anything going first or second phase of the map. But, you know, it seemed like it was a part of the game plan because what we saw on Spider Island ship, right? Like, we were like, okay, you know, maybe they have a good shot to come back through and win a team fight. But no, they were just kind of feeding. You know, it was just kind of running towards them, trying to get as many fights as possible, but none of them ever resulted in a win. And to be honest, I would say that's in large part due to the fact that we're putting Amazing onto Namor now, right? I think that this is actually a good hero for him. He seems to be consistent throughout on this hero, maybe compared to him on Star-Lord. And it's not to say that he's bad on Star-Lord. It's just that he's kind of leveled up on Namor in comparison. On Shikigami's side, you know, they've been able to, they haven't been able to match Amazing on that Namor.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think we talked about this last time that, you know, Amazing maybe not feeling as comfortable on the Hela, right? We saw the lack of Hela play from their side, but once the Namor came out, just an absolute, like, beautiful set of plays and a ton of good ultimates. We didn't see a lot of the combination of the whale with the strangling prison, but it didn't really matter. I mean, it seemed like, or even with the damage boost from Luna, it seemed like Fate of Both Worlds didn't even have an impact. It was just landed at ultimates and just kept walking, and obviously still had some time on the clock, almost a full minute. So really well done. Looked like they were on their normal comp, something they're feeling more confident with here in Midtown.
Feeling more confident indeed. Now here's that early spawn camp with confidence, like you mentioned, running triple Vanguard from Super Gomez. This is usually what we see on these very early holes out of teams. Play this Doctor Strange once, you take a team fight loss, teleport back in for a second fight like Shikigami did. Amazing forced off the high ground. Good positioning from Scatter to get rid of that damage from Amazing early on.
Good early poke here. Cray's going to drop Gomez early on, but, you know, we had this conversation. At this point, they're just trying to buy as much time as possible at this first choke. You reset later on the bridge to take a second fight, so just duke it out as long as you can. Amadian going to fall on the storm there. Amazing just showcasing the power of, oh, great placement here of the turrets on the high side. Those squids just not even being looked at because they're in such a tricky position to see until you press out. Does have whale ready and active should he want to. Damage boost probably going to happen now. There's the switch. Not able to get a pick, though. Does hit early on the Vanguards. Up again with the squids on the high side. Aramori with some good positioning. Unfortunately, getting completely walled off. Gonna pop crystals, hoping that it reaches the team on the outside. Kaluj up in the air. Bang. Just managed to take out Dinks. Well done there by Kaluj.
Yeah, well done indeed on the inside angle. Kurova falling so low. Everybody incredibly low on the inside, but it's sustained. I mean, Daze committed the ultimate as well. Not able to find the elimination. Amazing's here with the peel. Kurova eventually going to fall, but is it too little too late? Right on this offensive angle, Amadian's able to get another one. So Amazing, I mean, surely funnels into that cart, but that took so long for Shikigami. A minute and 30 seconds off the clock.
Yeah, I mean, that's a ton of value. I'd argue that, yeah, sure, they lost the fight, but that was bound to happen. It's not like you can hold at the spawn door forever, but it's pretty strong defensive positioning there, having a high ground angle and a low ground building to play around with a Groot to wall off yourself should you need to. They got a ton of value. See, I like their teleport a little more. The teleport, not just behind them at a weird angle, but instead in front of them, and you put that portal backwards to have it as a wall should you need. But again, the fight's going to go to the team that is attacking. Daze taking Gomez out early. That could be enough for them to win this, but we'll see if the fate of both worlds is going to be enough to turn this fight around. There goes the whale. Amazing, gonna take out both of the back line, and they should walk this at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately, Shikigami got outpaced right there by Amazing in the fate of both worlds alongside with the whale. Getting that one shot now. Sentinels, they're back in it, right? Back in this next fight, having that strangling prison from Crimzo alongside even a damage boost if they do so choose to want it, whereas Shikigami have an ultimate advantage, but haven't been able to collapse upon Daze ultimates. Daze actually going to commit the last stand towards the cart to no avail as Kurova matches it with the fate of both worlds towards the objective right now.
Yeah, and here comes some strong damage from Daze. We are going to see the Strangling Prison virtually getting everyone. Good tackle off to try to buy some time, but no. Team is going to retort to back to using those Fate of Both Worlds. Ooh, the battle of the Luna, or excuse me, yeah, Luna versus Loki. The battle of the L's, unfortunately, going to go Loki's favor. I know a lot of people think Luna has a good 1v1, but Loki definitely has a better 1v1 in those situations. Scatter going to drop Kaluj. Amadian going to take out Aramori and Amazing on the Storm. Good focus on the height there, as we haven't seen Storm too much, but definitely a valuable hero in her own right.
Yeah, we've seen it a lot in Europe, it seems. Over here in North America, obviously Sentinels like to run it, or used to like to run it with Amazing playing a lot of that Storm, but it's very brawly, right? You want to constantly play together, give your team that damage boost, make sure you're constantly getting in frontline pokes. So we'll see if these team fights, Shikigami can kind of stay together and also get rid of Amazing squids. That should be priority number one for them.
Yeah, and we are going to have another fight here with 13 seconds on the clock. Amadian and Crazeman going to find two. Daze going to take out Crimzo heavily in the favor here of Shikigami, as Noalt is able to find value on the opposition. Sentinel's going to have to retake. Great walls off up in the sky. Down goes the shift here for Namor, and bang, Amadian on Aramori, scatter on Amazing, and it looks like Shikigami is going to take this towards point two.
Well, that's how you have to play it, right? You just have to make sure Amazing's never setting up on these flanks. Before on their defensive hold, they were not really matching Amazing on said flanks, and now on the attack it seems like they're managing Amazing pretty well. So as long as he can't walk out with those squids, moving them out of the team fight, a lot of that damage is not going to be a problem. What will be a problem still, and a consistent problem for Shikigami, is going to be Kaluj and these Vanguards running it down, right? As long as Amadian can constantly shut out Crimzo and Kaluj, Shikigami might be able to snowball this.
Yeah, and here comes the Hurricane on the backside. Will they find it? Nope, unfortunately not, as it's immediately countered. Well done there by Kurova. Just trying to, Amadian, likely just trying to get that out. Nice combination, won't have the on counter. Kaluj gonna take out Amadian. Thought it was gonna find more, did a ton of damage. Super Gomez is gonna find more though and take out Scatter. Kurova on Craze. The team just collapsing, doing a great job here, and at this point, just gonna take out this Luna as Ricky falls as well.
Yep, and that fight's on Crimzo. Crimzo walled up that back line, made sure that they were away from any of their own Groot walls and support towards the objective. And then the Meteor from Kaluj connects over the top side. So nice job to wall up the player from Crimzo, one of the strategist players from Shikigami, to give them that main advantage going into this fight. Now Amazing's got a whale ready to go, but Shikigami, they have their own ult. What do they want to do?
Yeah, and here comes some strong damage. Super Gomez is trying to stack up some charge here. 39%. Amazing holding on to the well. Aramori is going to be ready to make that copy. As we do hear the copy on some side, Dinks is going to start the dance floor up. Will the damage boost happen? Daze is ready to make a last stand on Wolverine as well. Eye of Agamotto gonna get a few. Doesn't find any value in terms of KOs. Not just yet. The walls go up, and we are gonna see Qs popped on every side as we hear, oh, the last stand's coming. 100% charge here, ready to make a play. Daze just kind of holding on, doesn't need it just yet. The tackle back there from Super Gomez. Great crystals there, and doesn't even need to use them as he takes out Gomez early, holding on to that cube. That could potentially very valuable in this next fight for them to help them take point two.
Yeah, very scrappy fight for Sentinels, and a really bad one indeed on top of it. Right now, they're down ultimates. They just committed Last Stand. They've just committed Kalush's ultimate and Amazing's Whale. No longer can you get that one shot alongside Karova. Look, Kalush's over to Captain America as well now. They just want to stall out this objective. Maybe buy time for Crimzo to get a good strangling prison here in overtime.
Okay, and here we go again. Amazing gonna pop that shift early, gonna stay in the bubble. Crystals go out. We do see the ultimate popped here from the side. Oh, wait, not able to get much value from Amadian there on the Star-Lord. Dinks with great positioning on the height with Loki. Great clone spots ready to pop crystals as they do get popped. Kalush is gonna be on Captain America. Love to see this switch for the touch at the end. Crazemang very low and still holding on, but not for long. Super Gomez taking Craze. Amazing onto the Dinks. And yeah, looks like Sentinels are going to shut this down unless a portal play comes through.
Wait, Daze? Yeah, he's going to go down. You're right. Portal play. Where is it at? Is it coming? The answer, no. Sentinels 2-1. Gonna win today's shit. Moving up in that upper bracket still. Where is it sending? Shikigami down under into the lower bracket.
Yeah, we talked about how impressed we are with the Shikigami right over these last few games, and I will say, although it looked, heavily in Sentinel's favor, especially on that map, Shikigami looked really good. I think they made some strong plays. They understand maybe where their weaknesses are now and things they want to look out for. I don't think they allow that combo to come back. I don't think you see the Namor again, just because, especially against Sentinels with Amazing being so strong, and just, Super Gomez, I got to quickly mention, man, 38-8, but 20 limbs. Oh, Amazing with 21 limbs. The duelist side of Sentinels here really popped off this game.
Yeah, and we're going to keep seeing that as well. I think that the catalyst for Sentinels to win is Super Gomez going insane. He's been really good in previous seasons of the Marvel Rivals Championships and the closed beta tournaments and MRI. So this guy really has been a star player for Sentinels and will continue to be that, right? As long as Sentinels keeps him in the roster and keeps playing around his hero pool, I think it'll be very fun matchups for Sentinels. And honestly, that was a pretty fun series overall, Shib, dude, just to have it go close down to the wire and even have Captain America come out. It's been a unique day for sure.
Yeah, and then we had Crimzo playing, right? Last time we had a discussion with Sentinels, we actually had an interview with Crimzo as a coach. So seeing him drop in here and be able to play the Groot, which maybe they were lacking on, I think they were openly willing to say that they didn't feel that confident on Groot initially. So having Crimzo pop in there, it was really cool to see. And speaking of seeing them play, let's dive into these highlights from that match.